Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are, however you might be watching or listening. Thank you for making this part of your day. My name is Justin,
My name's Alexander.
and we are the hockey podcast you're about to hear. And remember, if you wonder why the puck is getting closer and bigger, it'll probably hit you. Alright, so where do you want to start on this one here?
Oh, by God. I mean, a quick recap. We're now on the other side of the AllStar game, but I think we're still basically talking about everything that happened during the AllStar break, and so anything that's currently going on, we're kind of looking back.
So kind of recapping in December
So,
a little,
so any
or in January a little bit.
any numbers or stats or records that we talk about is going to be things that stopped at the AllStar break.
Okay.
So even though now we've started to play a few games this week, and more teams have won and lost and things, that's not necessarily part of any of the stats that we're giving out.
Okay.
So, just to look at it.
So you had looked at some pretty interesting stats. If you want to start off with that.
Yeah, so during this last off season, we had a ton of RFAs. We had a lot of guys that were looking to re-sign with their teams, and the questions were, okay, well, how much are they going to re-sign for, and waiting for somebody to kind of set the market. There was a whole Mitch Marner saga that basically lasted the entire stinking summer. And I was curious as to, so now that we're half a season in, how are some of those deals looking? Obviously, they're at different terms, different value amounts for different types of players and whatnot. And so I wanted to come up with sort of a way just to kind of get an idea of who is the best value out of these RFAs? Who actually got the most for their money so far? Obviously, this will change over the course of time, but just kind of a general snapshot. And so what I did, because not everybody's played the same amount of games, had the same amount of points, making the same amount of money, you had to create some sort of formula. And so my formula basically was figure out how many points per game a guy was getting. So if he'd only played 20 games because he's been injured like Marner, his points per game is pretty high, even though there's a lot of other guys that have way more points than he does. As far as per game basis, he's more valuable. So taking their points per game, and then because I had an average annual salary that they're making, their cap hit, I couldn't just divide the points per game into that. It was like, okay, now what I need to do is over the course of a full season, playing at their current rate of points per game, what are you worth per year? And so taking their points per game, creating a point total for their season, and then taking that number, dividing it into their cap hit, got me a how many dollars does it cost per point this player produces. And so going to that list, here's what I came up with. You have someone like Charlie McAvoy, which he's kind of an outlier because he's kind of the only defenseman of this group.
Yeah,
so he contributes in a lot of ways that aren't showing up on a point sheet as far as your goals or assists. But currently he gets paid $168,000 per point, which is not great, considering some of the other numbers we're going to have on here. Next on that list is Matthew Tkachuk, who is making $7 million this year, but he's producing like 3/4 of a point per game. And so basically he's getting paid, or it's costing his team essentially $111,000 per point that Matthew Tkachuk creates.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, in that same range of like that 100,000 range was both Mikko Rantanen and Mitch Marner. Now the interesting thing about both of those guys, they make $2, $3, almost $4 million more than Tkachuk. So as far as being in that range, it's like, well, maybe Marner has a better ratio, but you're paying Marner close to $4 million more than you're paying Tkachuk, and they're costing you about the same amount per point.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a value game there. Some of the better deals that I found were guys that signed were like Brock Besser. He's down in the $82,000 per point.
He's with Vancouver, correct?
He's in Vancouver, yep. Travis Konecny in Philadelphia. He's down at $73,000. And with his great year he's having this year, Jacob Vrana in Washington is only costing Washington $50,000 per point. So they're not paying him a ton. They're only paying him
getting a lot of production,
and getting a lot of great production out of him.
Which, I mean, that's pretty much what you want.
That is, the more contracts you can have like that, the better your team is going to be because you're getting good value. There were a few free agent signings that I wanted to see kind of how they compared to the RFAs, guys that could have gone anywhere and signed for anything. Matt Duchene, he's kind of in that Charlie McAvoy category. where he's costing Nashville $137,000 per point.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that should not cost them that much. He should be producing way more points for what they're paying him. Sebastian Aho, I thought he signed a pretty friendly deal.
Yeah.
Like, that was one of the big talks. Like, oh, offer sheet, boy, Carolina's going to be happy with that because they got him in such a smoking deal. He's $122,000 per point. So even though you got him in a good deal, he's not producing at the rate of anybody else that was out there, like a Rantanen or a Tkachuk or whatnot. I mean,
that's pretty surprising. I thought that'd be a better.
Yeah, I figured he would have had a much better
value.
But he hasn't yet. I think maybe the steal of the offseason so far was Artemi Panarin.
Yeah.
At only $98,000 per point. I mean, I know he's making he's making double figures. He's in that 10 or 11 million range, but he's producing points like crazy. I mean, he's having a phenomenal year. I mean, he's having an Artemi Panarin kind of year,
which is weird. He just kind of does that wherever he goes, pretty much. And people are like, "Oh, he's just only good because he's playing with Patrick Kane."
Or he's playing good because he's in a contract year and he wants to go be a free agent. It's just kind of like, no, this is a guy that you paid for, and hey, he continues to produce. And another guy like that is like Roman Josi. He signed his big contract in the offseason. He's leading the Nashville Predators in points. Like, it's not like he signed the big deal and now is just kind of like, all right, I'm just going to back it off now that I got paid. There's some guys out there that actually continue to play to the value of their contracts, which is good to see because generally teams feel like they overpay. And then as soon as they don't overpay, we say, oh, that player took way too little money. Like, what was he thinking? That's such a team-friendly deal.
No.
So we're never happy either way. There's no such thing as a perfect signing in the eyes of the fans and the owner and the player.
Maybe 0.5% of all deals are like, oh, yes, that's perfect for everybody. Yeah. And those
like
usually
Tkachuk.
Yeah.
It's like, here's your $750,000. Hey, you're producing a point per game.
All right, yeah.
Works for you because, hey, you're still playing. Works for us because, hey, we're getting production without, paying anything.
Yeah, that's pretty okay.
Yeah. But I would say that Anthony Duclair in Ottawa is the standout because he's having a great year. He signed to a really, really cheap deal. He is putting up points at the rate of $28,000, almost $29,000 per point. Now, here's what's crazy to me is that these guys make more scoring a single point in their season than I will make in a year or 2 years or 3 years.
I don't know, it's kind of a little depressing.
Wow. I got to work so hard to do that, and all I got to do is go out there and score an empty net goal, and hey, ka-ching! There's another $75,000. I'm like, oh, this is sad. But I'm really not worth that much, so that's fine. Marketplace, baby. Capitalism.
Certainly.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting look at where guys are value-wise. I know league-wide there are some players that have really good deals and some players that have really bad deals.
Oh, yeah.
Just looking at basically like general contracts. And I know the Detroit Red Wings had Justin Abelkader and I think Franz Nielsen, I think were 1 and 2 at just over $500,000, just under $500,000 per point. However, on the best deals, we had Tyler Bertuzzi and Robbie Fabry, who are on the best side of that deal, as far as having only like a few $1,000s per point, because they're signed super cheap because they're still on entry-level contracts, but they're producing a ton of points. So we have the highs and we have the lows, but the highs are really, really high when it comes to how much we're paying guys not to do anything.
So in theory, it should all balance out, but
it hasn't.
Yeah,
it really hasn't. So. Yeah, that's my little snapshot look at.
So I like it. We'll have to revisit this at the end of the year.
Yeah, kind of see how things shake out once they actually have hard numbers.
Right, only 2 games. We'll have to estimate out for it.
Yep.
But yeah, so it'll be interesting. Yeah, I like this way as kind of review of good deal, bad deal, or actually not bad at all.
And I feel like the league average is probably somewhere in that $70,000 to $90,000 range.
Probably, I would think.
Just based on how the numbers I was running, the players they were, market value and wise, I think it's probably right around in there.
Yeah, I would say that.
I think it's under $100,000 a point.
Yeah,
I would hope.
Right? Yeah. No kidding. So that's one of those things you just never know, because you got those hot streaks and cold streaks too, and
yep.
It's hard to say,
And some guys have a small sample size because they've only played like 25 games.
right?
Like Rantanen's missed a bunch of times, so
Yeah, he has.
sure he has a good points per game. Like Rantanen and Martin are the only two guys on this free agent list that are averaging more than a point per game.
Right. Okay.
Which is the upper echelon of the league. Like a point per game player is.
It's pretty good.
Those are AllStars,
Mhm.
which I'm sure we'll move on to AllStars here at some point. Which
Yep.
a lot of those guys weren't point per game players. Because
Might
guys
as well.
like Tyler Bertuzzi made the All-Star game.
Yeah, might as well just get to it now, and
Yeah, just get it over with.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could rant forever on the All-Star game, so you're gonna have to rein me in.
Well, we're at like the 10.5 minute mark right now, so
Okay. Well then, I got like 40 minutes.
Yeah. Wait, what? Hold on a second.
All right, Justin, All-Star game takeaways.
I like the skills competition. Some of the skills competition. I'm not a big fan of the setup itself for the game, but I don't know how you'd fix it.
You're talking just the 3-on-3
Correct.
division versus division
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
I mean, I kind of get it because it's fun to see the divisions go get each other and stuff like that, but the guys don't get showcased very much time. Because before it was a full 5-on-5, wasn't it?
They used to play a 5-on-5 full 20-minute.
And it was like 26 to
Period.
24 kind of scoring game.
They were some pretty high-scoring games. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
and kind of like each goaltender got to take a period.
Mhm, yeah.
So you had 6 goaltenders go, and 3 from the west, 3 from the east play against each other, and
Right.
let it be what it was going to be.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I keep going back and forth. The final game was pretty entertaining to watch, but I missed the first two, and it's like, oh no, oh darn, I missed the first two. Although I do have to say, I smiled so big when I saw that Draisaitl was set up by Tkachuk. Oh, I laughed so hard when I saw that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that tickled me pink. So,
Mhm.
as far as that goes, I thought that was pretty great.
Sure. Skills competition.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some standard ones that are probably never going to go away, like fastest skater.
Which I do enjoy that one. And I would be interested to see if they had a puck, how fast it would still be.
So is with hardest shot and fastest skater.
I like that one too.
The reason I think we like those is you are getting the best effort out of the All-Star
Mm-hmm.
for that thing. When it comes to shooting a puck from the bleachers down,
Yeah.
that's not. They're not like how they're trying their hardest for that. When you even get to the All-Star game, they're not trying their hardest for that.
Yeah, I had mixed feelings about that one.
When you get to the save streak, which I think is really stupid.
It's almost like they just need to get like a puck shooter and just shoot it.
Something. Maybe just a cannon.
Yeah.
Like grab the cannon from Columbus, load it with pucks, and shoot it at the goaltender.
Not,
I would
not
watch that.
cannonballs.
I would watch that.
Yeah. See, and that's what I'm saying. Like a
Like
picture.
5 pucks at a time. You're like,
Yeah, yeah.
puck
Just do something like that.
But no, it's like the ones where guys are actually going to be trying to
Mhm.
win, where like pride's on the line,
Right, yeah.
is definitely far more entertaining. Now, what I didn't like about the hardest shot is the guys took a hardest shot, then he came right back and took another hardest shot. You really should play that in rounds, which they've done in previous years, and this year they didn't.
Mm.
It's like you after round 1,
Yeah.
so and so's the leader,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
you go in reverse order. So like the guy with the slowest shot comes back and tries to better that time and move up in the
That's
rankings.
right.
And then if the guy in second place, or if nobody's past the leader, then you know the guy that
Mhm.
had the hardest first shot, which would have been Shea Weber, would like
Ish,
nobody
yeah.
even close to him.
No.
Because again, you're only taking from the All-Stars, you're not taking from the hardest shots in the league.
Right. Although I think he would still be in contention.
Oh, he'd definitely be in contention, but I think still if you throw Chara in
I'll say
there,
Chara.
if you can sign Martin Ferk for a day just to go to the All-Star game, he could be in there.
Which that kind of goes back to something I think you and I have talked about is they should have a separate roster for the skills competition
Absolutely.
and a separate roster for the All-Star. I think that'd be way
Absolutely.
more entertaining to watch.
And I think that if you had just a fan vote
Yeah.
for just the skills side,
Yeah, maybe.
then you would be getting the best of the best in their
Mhm.
particular things, because like everybody knows, okay, we know McDavid's fast, we know Larkin's fast, we know Anson C is fast, we
Mhm.
know this guy's fast and this guy's fast, to where it's like fans will vote the people that they know are good at shooting hard,
Right.
skating fast, and
Not just
whatnot.
the big names.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean, there's still going to be big names in there, but people know who's fast and who's not. So
Yeah. I don't see Lucic going to that one, so,
I don't see Lucic ever being an All-Star ever again for any reason. At least not in this sport.
Correct. Yep.
I could see if there was
retired shuffleboard or something.
Something like that. Neanderthal look-alike. Whatever.
Take your pick.
But no, I think they need more skill competitions so that guys are actually trying to win. Now, how you do that?
That's
come talk
another
to me.
question. Yeah.
We can discuss that if they ever get serious about it. I don't think they ever will. I think there's always going to be a female presence in the All-Star game, even though they're not NHL related at all, because basically the NHL spends $100,000 a year towards their league, and other than that, they don't do anything except the All-Star game. Sure, come to the NHL All-Star game, the National Hockey League All-Star game, of which you are not a part.
Right.
We will include you. So it's political maneuvering and stuff as far as things behind the scenes and league levels and whatnot that will eventually all be worked out and have stories nobody cares about in 10 years.
Right.
So that's going to be a part of things going forward. Okay, let it be what it's going to be. But I as a NHL fan didn't necessarily need the women's hockey game there. I understand why it was there, and a big moment for the female hockey players. And
right. Nothing to take anything away from them at all, but
yeah.
That's not what I'm looking for in the All-Star weekend.
And honestly, if you were in the East Coast, then when you got around to the women's game, it went off at around 10 o'clock.
Right. That's pretty late.
It's pretty late if you were expecting your daughter to stay up and watch that happen.
Yeah.
It might be pretty late if you expected your wife, who doesn't typically care about hockey, to stay up and watch that happen. The only people that were watching that were already hockey fans. I don't feel like you really gained a whole lot of hockey fans by doing that.
No.
So,
you definitely need an earlier start time on that.
Yes, definitely.
Well, then you'd lose out on some people who are like already watching. Like you said, and it's just, well, wait, the women's game starts at this time? Okay, I'll just tune in later for the next game. For the actual All-Star game, or skills. Yeah.
And one of the other hard things about this is you have one sheet of ice that all this is happening on. And so they didn't re-ice the ice before the women's game.
Yeah.
So the previous skills had happened on it, and I think save streak was right before that.
I think so.
Which that tears up the ice in front of the goals pretty good, because you have
Oh, yeah.
skater after skater coming down, making moves. You have the goalie sliding back and forth, making moves. And yeah, apparently the ice wasn't in great conditions for their big, hey, come watch the women play on a terrible sheet of ice that we gave them because we're too cheap to spend another 10 minutes to re-sheet the ice. So hopefully the NHL fixes a lot of things from this. One of those being player tracking.
Ugh.
What were your thoughts on that?
Not really a fan. I mean, it kind of made sense because the players weren't wearing their normal, typical uniforms, and they were kind of hard to tell actually what
they were very
they played for.
identical.
Yes,
Very
unless
identical.
you're looking at the front.
Yeah.
So that part of what I thought was okay, but like for that stuff, it's like I don't really care, and it's distracting because I'm watching the play. And all of a sudden, this little pop up. Oh, he's going such fast, or he's playing such and such ice time. It's the All-Star game. Who cares?
Yeah. And I know Gary Bettman's address before the beginning of All-Star Weekend was saying we are going to have this technology in all 16 arenas for the playoffs and all 31 teams next year for the regular season. And my thought was you are going to ruin the spectator sport of hockey on television if you guys don't curtail this to, if you want it, you can have it. If you don't want it, you can turn it off.
Some way to turn it on and off, yeah, absolutely.
But there's no way to turn anything on and off right now in a broadcast.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, unless you want to hit the SAP button on your television and listen to Telemundo. That option doesn't exist. So unless you're looking at actually like changing the way you watch sports, which maybe they are, because I don't know of another sport that you can like turn on and off different features. Like if you're watching football, can I just turn off Chris Collinsworth?
Please.
You know, can I just mute certain broadcasters I don't want to hear? Like if I could watch a hockey game with no announcers but a much louder audio feed from the rink,
that would be awesome.
Where you can hear like the referees and the players and stuff. I don't need that edited.
And even like the goofy guy running all the sound and stuff in the background.
Just give me some microphones that are picking up what's happening, so I feel like I'm there.
Probably have to be on a little bit of delay.
I don't need somebody to tell me. Well, if I'm willing to pay for it, I'll take the unedited.
That's true.
It's like it's going to a hockey game and sitting behind the bench. You're gonna hear some things. You know, don't take your kids that close to the bench. And so, I guess here's where the player tracking or the puck tracking
Oh, I
like,
hate the puck tracking.
Player tracking, maybe in a short instant, has some sort of benefit to it, but then I think it distracts you from what the player is doing because you're watching. Okay, they've highlighted this person. This is this person's name.
And you're looking at this part of the screen now instead of the actual play.
Yeah, I think where puck tracking would be fantastically useful is in something like, I don't know, the skills competition.
Yeah.
When you're shooting pucks from 30 feet up and nobody has any idea where the puck is going, you can set up a camera. You can actually see this streak coming in the air and where it's heading towards, as opposed to, oh, they hit this target. Oh, that's a miss. And it was so hard to tell with that particular event.
Yeah, well, and some of the guys were shooting before the camera reset. So they'd take like the extra 3 seconds to...
Which makes sense, because like if you're trying to get into a rhythm of a shot, you want to take a shot, see where it goes, take a shot, see where it goes. You're not going to stand there and posterize every single shot like a golfer.
Right.
Because the event was long enough already. You already had like a dozen guys in this contest.
Because you're the AllStars, but you don't really fit in any other competitions.
Yeah, it was so weird.
And I don't understand why the goalie net was not more than 4 points at the end. Like, that should have been like at least 15.
Like if you and it didn't look like it was a straight on shot.
Yeah.
It looked like they were kind of just like behind the goal, up and to the left, kind of shooting at something that was at center ice, but there was also kind of an angle towards the back goal, and there was a bunch of other targets that nobody went for, which apparently was agreed upon by the players beforehand. They were all just going to shoot for the 10 points in the middle. That was a player pact going into that event.
That's funny.
Which is like, okay, then you got to fix the event, and you got to fix the fact that you can hit a target, but it doesn't count because it didn't go in the net, even though it's actually on the net, but it looks like it's in the net, and it's just like, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous.
That was a little much too.
I think if you had maybe 2 or 3 suspended targets that you need to shoot into,
that would be fun.
And then on the ice is spots where the puck can slide into. So say you shoot for that big target, miss it, still could hit the ice and roll into, and then you have that drama of watching this puck roll down the second half of the ice as it's heading towards the 2-point target. Then it's like, okay. To where you say, if you shoot it hard enough and you don't hit anything, you'll still get into something, probably.
Maybe, yeah.
And you get more than just 4 points out of this player, 2 points out of this player. When you had a potential, like they each got to shoot, 7 pucks?
I think so.
So you could have had 70 points if you hit the 10 point every single time. The guys that won it with 22 points.
Right. Because they hit it like twice.
They hit it twice. It's like...
and then a couple randos here and there.
So... I give them credit for trying some new things. I didn't necessarily enjoy all the new things. In fact, I enjoyed very few of the new things.
Yeah, the puck tracking, like, I was watching on my phone, and when they first turned it on, I thought it was like a stick on the ice. Because all of a sudden there's a big, long, black line on my phone. And then it dawned on me, it's like, oh no, that's the puck. Oh. Okay. I guess this is the thing now. And that stupid circle under who has the puck.
Now, here's what I think is interesting. So, they also had the ability to put ads on the boards
which
around
I thought
the rink.
was weird.
Which I can see where it's weird, but I think at some point we thought that the first down line in football was weird. It's like, that's not actually there, but it's there. And now, like, if you saw a game without it, you'd be like, wait, I don't know where the first down is. I don't know where the line of scrimmage is.
We'd be lost.
You know? And so I think that one we can adapt to because we're used to things being on the boards.
Right, yeah.
Now, if you could get rid of the overall scoreboard on top, and now your boards actually have the score and more stats, like your shots on goal, your save percentages for the game. You could even have on the boards who's on the ice. You know,
right.
And as you pan the camera from
that would be okay with me.
You could put a ton of stats and information up on the boards. It doesn't encumber any part of the actual broadcast viewing part of the experience, and you could be changing that throughout the game in different situations. And you could still throw ads on there, you know, because you know people are looking at that. It's like, what's the score? Oh, hang on, I got to wait to get through the Kellogg's ad.
Yeah, right.
Before, you know, Frosted Flakes. Yeah, cool. Okay, what's the score?
Yeah.
And so, not a sponsor, but could be. I think there's a lot of potential to that aspect of it. As far as knowing who's on the ice and all these little arrows tracking these players around, terribly distracting and not very enjoyable. And the puck tracking itself, I can see if you're a new fan and there's a little gray shadow on the puck,
right,
to where you kind of know who has it. That's helpful. it's helpful maybe when you see a shot taken and you're not sure, did that be the goalie glove side high?
See, if
or
they did
it's
it only for
hole?
shots or something, then maybe. But
Maybe if it was just part of replay.
replay, I'd be fine with it. Replay.
Like if you just
100%.
like, I watch the game live the way it is, and then when I want to actually slow it down and see what happened, oh, now there's a puck tracker. Like now I can see what happened.
Yeah, because there are some replays where I
Yeah.
watch 3 or 4 times before I figure out what actually happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean I'd be fine with that.
Yep.
But during the game, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because then I just watch the trail instead of the actual play.
Mm-hmm. So technology made a big debut at the AllStar game.
Mm-hmm.
First, we broke the LED board that they used for the accuracy contest.
Which, I like
accuracy
plates.
shooting. The plates are way better,
There,
and I
it's
feel
so
less
much more fun.
manipulated.
Yeah, that was a little sketchy.
It was so. I understand St. Louis won the cup. I understand they have all these old players they want to bring back, and they're playing it up for the crowd. But every single time they did one of those things, it was so cringeworthy to bring back. Oh, hang on, let's bring out so and so to do such and such.
Ooh.
Oh, that was less than entertaining and
Yeah.
kind of painful.
See, Keith Tkachuk made sense because both his boys are there.
Oh, don't get me started on the Tkachuk weekend of All-Star Weekend. I will lose my stinking mind. I will. Oh. You, as a Matthew Tkachuk fan, Flames fan,
Mm-hmm.
your take on Tkachuk weekend, because that's what this was.
I can't tell you how many times I saw that picture. The first time,
This is year of Tkachuk, actually.
Yeah,
given
yeah.
everything that
Oh, yeah.
Matthew's done,
Mhm.
and hey, Brady's playing well,
Mhm.
and then hey, your dad used to play for a team that won the Stanley Cup last year after being retired for many years. But
Yeah.
hey, apparently it's
I
important.
mean, as a father-son aspect, I think it's very cool that they did it. However, I think they overdid it. As a Tkachuk fan, like you said,
Mhm.
I think they overdid it. I like the picture of him sitting on the ice with the 2 boys.
Mhm.
I only needed to see that once, not 7 times.
Mhm.
Or 8 times, or however many times I actually showed it in like the
Mhm.
first hour.
If it was a drinking game, you'd be wasted by the
Yes.
second hour.
Take a shot. Every time you see the picture, oh boy, you're in trouble.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I said, the first time, cool. But yeah, after that, it's just like, we get it. It's cool. It's a cool father-son moment. But you keep hammering it up and taking away from the moment.
And can we decide whether or not his name is Keith Tkachuk or Walt Tkachuk? Because he was referred to by both
Yeah.
names throughout the weekend.
Yeah, I'm still not sure about that one.
I'm still not sure about that one either. And drove me
So-
crazy.
Yeah, so, I don't know. Like I said, cool moment for the guys, but hammed up and
Mhm.
monetized and, you know, all
Clearly.
that. All
Clearly. And Brady was there because the NHL wanted Brady there. And they wanted Brady there because they wanted more of the story of the Tkachuks and all that kind
Oh,
of stuff.
wait, it's going to be in St. Louis? Hey, he played for St. Louis. Hey.
Yeah. Oh, Matthews isn't going to play? Well, who should we replace Matthews with? How about somebody that's like a third of the player he is? Not Brad Marchand, who actually is worthy of going. Not somebody else from the Maple Leafs. Like, you could have sent John Tavares. I mean,
Oh, easy.
easy.
Yeah. In fact, I'm surprised another Maple Leaf didn't get sent.
Yeah.
Well, that's another topic for another day.
But you send, like, a guy from Ottawa that isn't having, like, a stellar year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not
that
in
isn't
the
really
toilets, but it's not...
He's really not all-star caliber player.
Because he probably would have made it there.
And you already had a guy from Ottawa there in Declare.
Does Ottawa really deserve to have 2 people there?
Yeah, I don't think Ottawa deserves to have anybody there. And
agree.
that goes for the bottom, I don't know, third of the league. Like, if you're in the bottom third of the league, you get no all-stars. Really.
So are you on the team of not having each team represented?
I don't need to see each team represented. I want to see the best players, not the best players from each team. Because here's what did it for me is some guys were called all-stars, some guys were called all-star representatives. And there's your dividing line. It's like Tyler Bertuzzi is the Red Wings all-star representative. Connor McDavid is an all-star.
All-star.
That's your difference. And
Yep.
I don't need representatives. I want the actual all-stars.
I agree. It's like, I mean, as a fan, it's like, oh yeah, I always want to see my team there. But I'm also a big enough fan to be like, if my team is in the toilets, I don't need to see anybody in my team there. Unless, like, say, McDavid for the Oilers, when he does so well and the Oilers are doing so terrible, that's the exception to the rule, I think.
Yeah, if somebody is top 5 in points on a losing
Absolutely
team, he's
send
still
him
an
there.
all-star because they're still going to be like, well, maybe he's a Hart Trophy candidate, even though his team's not going to make the playoffs. It's like
Yeah.
Jack Eichel deserved to be there.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm like, why can't we fix this?
Because we don't want to leave anybody out.
Well, you already leave people out because I thought there were some teams that didn't have a representative because
Injuries or something.
yes, and they didn't replace them with somebody from their team or whatnot.
Which didn't make any sense.
I'm trying to remember any. I thought
I
there
think
was
it
a
the
team or two.
Kings, the Ducks. One of those two teams.
I don't remember seeing a Duck, and I don't know if I remember seeing a Kane.
Yeah. Like their representative got hurt.
Slavin.
Mm-hmm.
He was a Kane.
That's right. So it must have been the Ducks or something.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't
Whoever
care.
they picked
And-
didn't make it.
and if you watch the skills competition, you're going to see your guy maybe once or twice.
Mm-hmm.
Because they got to spread up, all these players amongst these events, and so they can't all compete in them. So there's kind of hand-picked who goes where and where.
Right.
So you're only going to see your guy if you're watching because you have a representative there for your guy because you don't care enough about the NHL. But we have a player there. I'll watch it now to see what he does.
Mm-hmm.
I got to watch him skate a lap for 13 seconds, and then I got to watch him for his shifts in his 20-minute All-Star appearance, and then his team lost, and that was all I saw of him that weekend.
Right.
That's no reason to watch. That's no
No.
reason to spend the 4 hours it took to do the skills
No.
competition, or however
See, at
long
that
it took to
point-
do the All-Star games. Like,
Just watch the highlight of how he did for the skills competition.
exactly. Yeah.
So,
I mean, the GIF is going to be up on Twitter at some point anyway,
Uh-huh.
so you might as well just not watch and do something worthwhile with your time to watch this All-Star weekend of the NHL.
Yeah. So it has potential to be good, but I think it has a long way to go.
Yes, and totally needs to change the format of the game itself from straight 3-on-3 divisions to something far more creative and interesting
Yeah.
and fun to watch. Because nobody really cares, so nobody really tries.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And
Man, I
then
know
you-
there's money on the board, but it
yes,
only
you
really
can
matters.
split $1 million amongst guys that are multi-millionaires.
So the only ones that really care about that are the rookies, because they're like, oh yay, extra money, and the other guy's like, oh cool, I make that last game, so
Like-
I make that per point.
Did you see my commercial here 14 times?
Yeah.
That all made way more than you're going to ever make in your life.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
And I won the All-Star game
Whoa.
MVP and got a vehicle.
How does the AllStar MVP get picked from the losing team?
Because he was on the most commercials, making him the most valuable.
Apparently.
They used the actual value. and
Right.
he
How
has
much money
way
are you
more
bringing into the
value.
league right now?
Yes.
Oh, you're in 14 commercials and you're in none? I guess that makes that easy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Definitely.
Dumb.
So,
Dumb.
okay, that might be all the All-Star talk I can take. What else you got for
Yeah,
us?
no, I'm good with that too. So, Vegas. What do you think of Vegas?
They done messed up, Ron?
I agree.
Because that's a stupid... Like, there has to be something behind the scenes that caused this to happen because what they're telling us doesn't make sense at all. When the guy that fired him comes out and says, I just kind of had a feeling about that. A gut feel. You're going to fire your coach on a gut feeling when you're in a playoff
Yeah,
hunt?
in a
Like,
very tight playoff
a
race.
guy that's had success and got you to the playoffs, your first year, which nobody thought was going to happen,
Yeah.
and your second year, which still nobody really expected to happen. They figured the first year was a fluke. And so then it's like, wait, we're a good team. We have good players. We have a good coach. Oh, we're not as good as we thought we would be, but
Wait,
we're
what?
still a playoff team? Nah, let's get rid of the coach.
No, that's fine. That's the only thing I can really think of is if they really, really, really want Pete DeBoer, and they didn't think he'd be around at the end of the season. But even then, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like you said, they were in a playoff spot. Why change anything right now?
Like, if Gallant got you to the playoffs and won a round, were you still going to fire him?
Yeah,
Somebody somewhere is going to get a good coach.
I agree.
Okay, Gerard Gallant's gotten the short end of the stick now in his last 2 jobs.
Right?
Because he was fired from Florida abruptly and shown the door in a rude way. And honestly, I wouldn't mind him in Detroit.
Mhm.
I don't think. I just think it's too early for Detroit to really make a coaching change
Right.
because that's not going to save us right now. We need another 3 years of drafting and developing players before we're back to a
Mhm.
playoff caliber. At
Mhm.
that point, we need a coach.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't mind seeing him in Calgary because he was able to get the best out of this random ragtag team. I'd love to see him get the best out of the Calgary players.
There you go. And so, and then the fact that you're bringing in DeBoer, who is the coach of your biggest rival. Like if you're Vegas, you have one rival, one true rival.
Yes.
And you just hired the coach from that team.
Yeah, that's gonna slap in the face
send
of
to
the
your
fans.
players, to your fans, to your I don't get this move at all, which is why I'm saying there has to be some behind the scenes, undercover stuff that hopefully someday comes out. Because if it doesn't, I'm just gonna be like, I kind of liked Vegas, and I was kind of like,
that's
y'all don't know what you're doing.
Move.
And I'm sure there's Vegas double downs on Pete DeBoer or something like that. It's like they're pushing all their chips to the table, or maybe they're bluffing, there's a ton of stupid stuff like that, and I'm not here for any of it. But
as of right now, they're the second wildcard team, which I think they were either wildcard team or low seed in the Pacific. And one thing that's always confused me in all sports: I'm going to fire my coach. The hire this coach that just got fired over here. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I mean,
your trash is better than my trash.
Exactly.
So I want your trash instead.
Like, sometimes it makes sense. For example, like take Andy Reid from Philly. He had been there a long time. He got burnt out. He needed a new place to go. So they fired him. Chiefs hired him. That makes sense. But to hire a coach who's been with the team for 2 years or whatever, and you fire your coach to bring him in, and then you don't give him the time, because coaches need 3, 4, 5 years to get their team and their system fully in place.
Yes. Yeah. And I can almost see this totally backfiring and Vegas missing the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
When I thought this year they'd win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, same here.
It was like, boy, I expect Vegas to be awesome this year. And even though they haven't been awesome this year, I still think you hit the playoffs and they're there. I'm still pretty confident in that team.
Especially with how it ended last year. Yeah. Once they get in, they're going to be so hungry.
Yeah, and now you got to find motivation under a new coach.
Yeah, and the Sharks are doing so well this year that you want to bring in their coach?
I don't understand.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I really, really don't. And so, Vegas is a bit of a puzzler.
A little bit. So, that'll be. Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see where it ends out. Because the Pacific, right now Vancouver's on top with 62 points, and Vegas is in the number 5 with 57 points. That's still pretty tight.
And Pacific is going to be tight amongst those top 5 teams.
Which I want to know what Pacific's record is against Pacific, and Pacific's record is against the rest of the league, because everybody's dogging on the Pacific for being such a weak. But right now, 5 spots are Pacific teams, and the 3, of course, from the Central, but the 2 wildcards are both Pacific teams. So it's like, they don't have a lot of points, but maybe it's because they're playing each other.
Yeah.
And that's got to factor in somehow.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're playing each other and ending their games in regulation, and the
see,
Metro just keeps ending games in overtime, so there's all these extra points in the Metro, because in the East, the best teams in the East have more points than the best teams in the West.
Right, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, they're so weak over there, but I don't know.
I think right now if you said, do you think Vancouver would beat Boston, Tampa Bay, Florida, Washington, Pittsburgh, I would say no.
No.
So
I don't think Vancouver's going to finish at the top spot, but I think they're definitely going to be in the mix.
But I would say that about Edmonton, Calgary, Arizona right now. I don't think they beat Boston.
Correct.
I don't think they beat Tampa Bay. I don't think they beat Washington. I don't think they beat Pittsburgh.
Of course, who's beating Pittsburgh right now anyway?
I don't think anybody's beating Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah, not to bring that up.
So I could see where they're weak in the fact of, like, okay, take them against who they might play in this cup final. Like, I really wouldn't put money on them either. And honestly, in a league that supposedly has so much parity, even though there's a wide discrepancy in the league that has parity, because there's like the top 2/3 and there's the bottom third.
Oh, clearly.
Because there's, out of 31 teams, 18 of them have a positive goal differential. Right. That means 18 teams are scoring against 13 teams. And so it's there's parity at the top, is what I would say.
Yeah. And one thing to be considering of too, I think I brought this up last time, is Calgary. They're technically in the red for the playoff, or their points differential.
Yes. And they have been.
But they are +4 since Jeff Ward took over and Peters left. So, I mean,
that's
not
how
great.
south things had gone.
Yeah,
they're still digging out of a deep hole.
Yes.
And by the time you get to the end of the year and they're in the playoffs, I'll bet you they have a positive goal differential.
I would think so, or at least be pretty close to 0. So yeah, another good call on that.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. But yeah, another team that I thought was interesting. Okay. Arizona.
Arizona, huh?
Yep. So I took a quick peek.
Uh-huh.
For New Jersey, the last 10 before the trade, and the first 10 after the trade, and for Arizona.
Okay.
You want to take any kind of guess?
Well, New Jersey did more than just trade Hall because they've changed coaches this year. They've changed GMs this year. They've changed best players this year. They have gone through a lot. So I can see where they might have some substantial changes in there. I'm going to guess that Arizona's going to have a worse record post-trade because they hit injuries.
Which that was also kind of a factor.
You lose your Vezina caliber goaltender, your team's going to suffer. I don't care what you've added. And they also had some other issues going on as well. Other players that got injured that aren't as big of a name that were still difficult. And then New Jersey, I imagine.
So better, worse, or about the same
for
New Jersey?
I would almost say slightly better because I think they've gained ground against Detroit.
Okay.
As far as like getting away from that last draft pick, and yeah, I think Arizona's probably gone a step down, record-wise, and that New Jersey either stay the same or maybe even gain some ground.
All right. So before the trade, New Jersey was 2-7-1.
2-7-1. Well, there's a lot of room to go up.
There is. After the trade, they were 5-3-2.
Okay. Not bad.
Yeah. Which I always thought that was interesting. Everywhere Taylor Hall leaves,
gets better.
Yeah, because when he left the Oilers, next year the Oilers made the playoffs. So Arizona 5-4-1 before, 6-4 after. So
Arizona's maintained.
Yeah.
So it didn't make them all that much better. Didn't make them all that much worse. Just kind of kept them right where they were.
Right.
But now they're paying Taylor Hall.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Which I mean, like you said, it might be different. At who's it, Ranta?
Yeah, when Ranta comes back, then
do another 10 and see.
No, not Ranta. Kemper,
that's right.
Darcy Kemper.
Yep.
Yeah, when he comes back, because Ranta also got injured, and then they had another guy named Hill playing goaltender. Like they went through some.
Hey, let's open up another can of goalie and see what we got here.
To quote Jeff Merrick, who's probably quoting somebody else because that's kind of what he does. If you have a goaltender, it's 70% of your team. If you don't have one, it's 100% of your team. Meaning, if you don't have a goaltender, it doesn't matter what you do. That's the biggest problem you have. If you have a goaltender, he's still 70% of your team. But there's other things you can do.
Right.
That's where Arizona is right now. 100% of them is we don't have a goaltender like we had.
Right. Yeah.
Once it's back to, hey, he's back, the other 30% that now includes Taylor Hall is going to be a stronger 30% than it was before all this happened.
Right. Yeah.
And it also takes some time for one of these guys to get adjusted to a new team.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you're like, hey, you're going to go play top line.
Yeah. Here you go.
Because, like, you're expected to come in and produce. And honestly, Taylor Hall hasn't played bad.
No, he hasn't.
He's been decent. And so, like, if you bring in, like, hey, we brought in, like, a third-line guy, well, they're probably going to mix in better because, one, they're not going to see as much time. There's not as much expected of them. You're not expected to go out there and make these skill plays in a high-level league. To where it's like, in order to score on the top line against a top defense in the NHL, you got to be pretty stinking good at what you're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And in pretty good rhythm with the guys that are around you. And it's hard to do that over a very short period of time. So, Taylor Hall, by the time we get to the end of the season, assuming he doesn't get traded at the trade deadline again, I can.
Yeah, how funny would that be?
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I don't think that will happen, but that'd be hilarious.
I know. Small part of me wants that to happen. I'm not gonna lie.
So
that way he can be the first player in NHL history to be traded twice in the same season after their team got the first round pick, and he's had 3 other first round picks on the teams he's been on.
Who's also a number 1 overall draft pick.
Yes.
Because that narrows it right down.
You know somebody's gonna hit that stat. Because that's what people do. Some of the stats I find interesting, and others are like, how much time did you spend coming up with that one?
They just asked the computer, hey, computer, can we please have another random stat from your butt? And I was just like, sure, here you go.
Well, how about the same qualifiers, but from this date? Nope, that's still not quite what I want. How about from this date? oh, hey, so from December 29th, she's been this. He leads
What do the
leading
stats
goals.
like the last 10 games? Oh, what do they look like the last 9 games? Hey, that's a better percentage. Last 8 games? Oh, that's a great percentage. Cool. We're going to use that stat.
Exactly. So it's like
It's, yeah. Yep. So long as you adjust your modifiers enough, you can get stats to say whatever you want them to say.
yeah, exactly. Which, whatever. I guess they're paying so many big bucks, more money than us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Also, I feel like we have to bring up the Marchand shootout.
Marchand shootout, you know. So if you didn't see this happen in a game where they go to a shootout and Boston has a shot from Marchand to tie the shootout and extend it. If he misses, it's a loss. He skates up to the puck, drops his stick, just barely kisses the puck and keeps skating.
I think as light as you can touch it.
Like, yeah. If there wasn't video, you'd think he didn't move the puck at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that counts as a shot attempt. If he had just totally whiffed on it and didn't move, he could have skated around and tried again and picked it up. But because he touched it, he began his motion and then skated past the puck, which you can't go back and pick up the puck in a shootout. So it's a failed attempt, and they lose.
Right.
If it was anybody other than Marchand, I don't think it's a story.
I don't think so either.
If McDavid did that, it would probably be a story.
I mean, he kind of had a similar one where it flew off a stick.
Right. I'm not sure if that one was in the same critical situation of, hey, if you mess this up, we lose.
So.
But this was a very bad time
for the
to be very bad at a shootout.
Because I think it was like the 5th or 6th round too, wasn't it?
Yeah, they'd been going back and forth for a little while. I think they were playing Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, and then obviously Twitter tries to roast him and stuff, and he just replies like Brad Marchand posted a picture of him with a Stanley Cup from 8 years ago.
I was like, dude.
Referred to somebody as a peasant, and
right.
It's like, you know what? He's a troll.
Don't feed him.
You just playing into his game. But I understand why a lot of people found it humorous, because it's like when it's a guy that like most league doesn't like, and you see them poop the bed.
I mean, just so badly
in a critical situation. It's like, okay, that makes me smile, because I actually was watching it as it happened. I smiled too.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed that.
I didn't see it live, but I heard about it after. Watched the replay more than once. Not gonna lie. So, but speaking of the shootout, you're not a fan.
No, the shootout is is essentially a skills competition where guys are trying, and it's still not entertaining.
Yeah,
it feels very international. Because like, oh, that's how they decide things. Don't play overtime. We just go right to a shootout for the gold medal. It's like you're gonna decide the top. No, one of the things I love about hockey is when we get to the playoffs, you just keep playing periods of hockey, sudden death until it's over, come what may. That's fantastic. Regular season,
I mean, I get why they don't want to do that in the regular season. But
I do as well. I do. But you still want something that's as close to actual hockey action deciding the game. And the shootout is not actual hockey action.
Which, I have an idea, which needs some work.
Okay.
What if there was, like, a defenseman starting at, like, the blue line or one of the back face-off dots near the goalie, chasing him down? And same thing, you can only send out one player. And once he's done, that's...
So basically, like, we send out our defenseman, and you got to counter with your skater.
And home ice. So, visiting team has to send out their skater or their defenseman first, and then home team can pick who to send out. Because that's more like an actual
breakaway
game. Yes, breakaway. They got to do something while they have one, maybe two guys trying to catch up and be draped all over them. It needs some work, but...
I think the issue you'd run into that is now you are going to get somebody that gets injured.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have a defenseman sprinting as hard as he can after a guy going down scoring as a goaltender, and he's going to pull a hamstring trying to get that extra point in a shootout that you didn't have to end this way. And Or he's going to catch him, and then it's like, okay, well, he committed a penalty on him because he hooked him.
Or have him stand at one still spot and he can't move. He can, swing his stick around, but he can't move from that spot.
You could take turns just doing 2-on-1s, where the defenseman starts at his blue line, and the guys pick up the puck from center ice. Two guys pick up the puck from center ice, and they can go play 2-on-1 against him with probably some sort of a time limit.
Something.
But then at least, I don't know, I would just get rid of any kind of gimmicky skills-based, call it skills, I mean, the whole game is skills, type of thing, just go straight to, in overtime, continuous clock, 3-on-3 till someone scores.
Mm-hmm. Clean the ice after every 10 minutes.
Maybe.
Probably like they do in overtime.
Probably should.
Mm-hmm. Just like they do in the playoffs. Stop it after the 10-minute mark, clean it off, and go again. See, and I would be a great fan of that. I love 3-on-3 hockey.
I do too, but I need to make one rule change because the 3-on-3 has become completely puck possession.
It's become overcoached.
Overcoached, over-scrutinized, over-strategized, over-analytic-sized. Mm-hmm. It needs to be essentially an icing penalty if you intentionally pull the puck back out of your offensive zone.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then at that point, you're saying, oh, well, we don't want to be on offense right now. We're just going to pull it back out to the neutral zone, change our players, and
burn 30 seconds.
That is so boring to watch.
That is.
That is absolutely so boring to watch.
That is.
And so it's like watching a basketball team that just wants to pass it around until there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock, run their play, and take a shot because they like to wear out the clock. That's part of their game strategy. It's like
if
that's
they're up by 10 with 5 minutes left.
Yes. You're basically making people play keep away. Mm-hmm. If I want to watch people play keep away, I mean, I would find something else to do with my time. And so, no, I think if you do that to where, hey, you intentionally brought it back out of the zone, blow the whistle, you guys can't change, your opponent now can, and now the puck is down back in front of your goalie, you all done messed up.
You're right, yeah.
I would enjoy that.
That would make sense to me, because then that would create a lot of pressure.
Yes, and then what it would do is like, okay, well, we still want to try and change, so we're going to have one guy try and keep the puck in the zone, or two guys keep the puck in the zone and change them one at a time. Now you get some strategy going on, and they mess that up, and now you got a breakaway.
Which that's the best part. That's the best part of 3-on-3 is the breakaways. Yeah,
it's like we want breakaways, we want 2-on-1s, we want some fast action, we want that tail guy coming in off the screen that's, oh, where'd he come from? Slap shot goal kind of thing. That's what we want. That's all we ever wanted.
Oh, yeah, easy.
And, I think you could get there if you thought about it a little bit better. But I don't think it's going to change. They've talked about, okay, maybe going to 7 minutes instead of 5 minutes. And I'm like, you're really not changing anything because guys are still going to get down to like 30 seconds left and be like, we'll just hang on to it for the shootout.
And I don't think the Tkachuk overtime goal happens if it got bumped to 7 minutes.
Right, because you're not in that desperate situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, well, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to try this, see what happens. Oh, it worked. It worked wonderfully.
Yeah.
I don't think you would try that. Try that hard.
And I know some people want to change, like, to where all games are worth 3 points or something.
Yep. I've mentioned that before.
To where, okay, there's more on the line kind of thing, and maybe you get into a situation where in overtime you pull your goaltender because you actually need the overtime point.
Right.
Because basically what the system is saying, if you win in overtime, you get 2 points, your opponent gets 1 point. Mm-hmm. If nobody wins in overtime and you go to a shootout, or no, overtime, 3 points to the winner, 0 points to the loser.
Oh.
Because basically it's just a continuation of the game. I would...
See, I've always gone the other way. I always thought the game itself should be worth 3 points. Mm-hmm. And if it goes to overtime, winning team gets 2 points. Losing team gets 1 point.
Okay, so just a regulation win would be worth 3 points. Okay.
Overtime win is 2.
Okay.
Because then you see more desperation in the last 2 minutes instead of I'm just gonna skate it slowly and then
even in a tie game, you'd be like, even if we win in overtime, we're only gonna get 2 points. Our only shot at 3 points, which we need, is to pull our goaltender in regulation.
Right. Yeah. And I think to make more urgency.
What's the great thing about hockey is there's already urgency at the end of 1 goal games anyway, which is always fun.
Great.
I don't see the establishment of the NHL wanting to change the point system, because then the records basically have to be canonized, and now you can no longer have a team that because then you're gonna if you can get 3 points for a win, you look at Tampa Bay's season last year, they'd have like 150 points,
which would be insane.
Or whatever they.
Yeah, whatever.
It would have been insane. It would have been like, oh, that broke a record. This is the first time since 2019 that a team has done this, because it's kind of like stats are going to get so weird, and then it's going to be like, well,
it cracks me up when Vegas stats are brought up. He's the most prolific scorer in Vegas history. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I guess.
And if he misses 3 games, somebody else is.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's going on right now. I think with like games played or wins between Marc-Andre Fleury and Lundqvist. Like, and nobody keeps mentioning it because they're basically like 5 and 6 or something on all-time wins or something like that. But they kind of are right around each other to where, like, if a guy is injured for a bit, a guy can win 3 games and pass him, and so there's not always like, oh, and with that win, he takes over 3rd place. It's just kind of like, no, because he might lose it next night.
Yeah.
And so it's stats is a whole nother rant that I can go on. But,
yeah, we've already had one big one for today. So,
yeah, we probably should head towards wrapping some things up.
So I got to mention Tkachuk, Kassian.
Oh.
You know, at the time, I wanted Kassian to get a much bigger suspension and blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, I get it. You know, Tkachuk, that first hit was kind of borderline. Next 2 were a little less borderline. But, you know, lost his marbles, ragdolled him twice, was waylaid on him. I still think he could have gotten more, but at the same time, yeah. I mean, he does have a history. I'm okay with 2 games, I guess, especially since the returning game was Flames versus Oilers, which I thought was so entertaining.
After watching the game Wednesday night, I think Tkachuk wins rounds 2.
Yeah.
Because he duped you the first game and Calgary won. He did what you wanted him to in the second game and Calgary won.
Yep.
Tkachuk's 2-0 right now.
Oh, yeah.
And this whole thing is like, in the end, it's about the points because you're trying to get into the playoffs. Tkachuk's playing them.
Oh, yeah.
He's playing the Oilers. He's playing Kassian. It's like, dude's mind game is next level,
Yeah,
which is fantastic.
He's playing chess while else playing checkers.
I think chewing on the mouth guard is part of all of that. Like, I don't think that's just like a tick or a tell or something that he has. I think it's like,
I think it's something to do
just
with
doing that
everybody.
is going to annoy the veteran guys and the other teams. Like, just get your stupid mouth guard
back in your mouth. There for you.
Yeah, kind of thing. And he's going to sit there and chew on it and chew on it and chew on it.
Especially at the face-off.
Yep. No, I think so much of what he does is part of a bigger picture troll scheme that he's extremely good at.
He is.
And I think we're seeing that, right? Like, after being in the league long enough, he's developing more and more of this reputation. Another 2 or 3 years, when he's the captain when Giordano retires.
Yep, I agree.
This guy is going to be hated by 31 teams in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And 31 fan bases. And it's going to be awesome.
Yes, I agree.
Because he's going to be making a lot of money.
He's
going to be making a ton of money, because I think it's $9 million a year. Like, he's making $7 million this year, $8 million next year, $9 million the last year, which is his beginning qualifying offer for his next contract with Calgary.
Right.
So he's going to be at least a $9 million player in 3 years. And it's just kind of like, wow.
Worth every penny.
Wow. This guy's got it. And, no, I think he's won every round that I've seen. Like, even if you take a fight and take a couple punches, and Kassian's like, yeah, okay, good fight. So now you've won the respect of the guy that got suspended for punching you. It's like, he's winning in every corner as far as I'm concerned. And so Saturday, tomorrow night is going to be, again, just off the hook, just exciting. I know player safety is going to be there again. Right. And they're going to be like, oh, they're here to keep control of things. They're like, the game was so stinking entertaining with the parents in the building, it didn't matter. Oh, yeah. Because these are 2 passionate teams. What did you think about Giordano's leg stick out on McDavid?
I don't think it was... Well, I think it was intentional, but not intentional trying to hurt him. I think he's like, oh no, I got beat. I'm an old guy. And... But, like I said, I don't think there's any intent to injure. Because if you watch what happened last year, when they got tangled up and McDavid went into the net and got hurt, Giordano was like, oh my goodness, like... So I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just...
And McDavid said that he didn't blame Giordano for that.
Right, yeah.
McDavid blamed Giordano, though, for Wednesday, because I've never seen McDavid that angry about
Oh
anything.
yeah,
Ever.
he was fired up.
And
I do think it was a missed call.
he broke his stick on the bench, and he was cursing at the ref
Yeah.
and yelling. Like, McDavid was done worked up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely think that was a missed call.
And it's not like they were like being blown out at the time, where he was
No.
actually more angry about that. It's like,
So I think it was one goal.
you're in a competitive.
game?
I think it was a 1-goal game. pretty
Or
much the whole
tied,
night.
maybe. I don't remember.
Like, I don't think anybody had a 2-goal lead at any point.
Mm-mm. So, I mean, like, it was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just kind of traded punches the whole night, literally.
Yeah.
Which I think, so Monahan and
Nuge.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins have a fight, and it's shortly after that Tkachuk goes out.
That was
and
the next
fights
face
Cat.
off. Yeah.
And I think the reason Tkachuk went out there to fight that is because it's like, okay, I can't have my guy fighting, like my skill player fighting their skill players. Like,
Well,
I need to go cool this thing off, and the best way I can cool this off is by taking this fight against this guy.
right. Well,
That's-
Tkachuk wanted
that's
to
why
fight
that
at the beginning of the game, and Kassian's like, nah, not yet. Kind of keep him guessing kind of thing. But then that just seemed, well, there's a fire right there, so I can't wait anymore, let's go!
Yeah, and so, but I think the teams realize those aren't the players that we want fighting
Uh-huh.
in two of our top 6 forwards. Now, granted, Tkachuk is a top 6 forward.
Yeah.
Technically, so is Kassian, even though he's not a top 6 forward on any other team.
No.
Um,
Which I don't think I've ever seen Monahan fight, so I was like, I had to like double check.
yeah,
I
yeah,
was like,
yeah,
what?
yeah. It's a very rare thing to see those guys fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I get that Kassian plays the role of Lucci John Gaudreau's line. Where it's like, so long as we got this big guy out here with our star players, nobody should be touching our star players. Which is fine. Is what it is. It's the way the NHL is now. They didn't need to play together. So long as you just had a big guy that was willing to punch out anybody, nobody touched your star players. Now it's like, well, they kind of need to be on the same line because short memories and squirrels.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what I thought. Like, say, and think about, too, because it was Oilers game, 2 games off, and then Oilers Flames again.
Mm-hmm.
I think if been Oilers Flames 3 games off, Oilers Flames, his suspension would have been 3 games.
Huh.
I think it's only 2 because, hey, we should let him play this night.
Well, do you think
That'll
the
make a lot of
NHL
buzz.
wants this? Does the NHL want this?
I think that with the buzz and the excitement, because everybody was talking about the Flames Oilers game.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. So, like, well, we're just going to provide some extra security and extra specific reps for this game. So.
And I know the league doesn't like tons of fighting, tons of hitting and stuff. That's
Right.
why they're suspending for so much stuff. But at the same time, I almost kind of got to feel like what they give with one hand, they take away with the other. It's kind of like, oh, well, we
know.
still kind of want some of this in here.
Like, Lucic's 2-game suspension for soccer punching a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kassian's way worse of an offense. He took him down twice at the ice and punched him like probably 10 times in the head.
I still want Jake Muzzin suspended for body slamming Anthony Mantha,
Yeah,
who has not played since that game.
Yeah. So.
And that was 2 months ago.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't understand it. But like I said, I think his suspension was definitely dependent on how many games in between. So that's all I think I have to say. I'm sure I'll have some more next time.
Mm-hmm.
So, as per tradition, our graveyard segment.
The graveyard.
Who do you got?
Last time we dropped 3 teams in the Devils,
Correct.
Senators, and the Ducks.
Mm-hmm.
I almost feel like maybe we should go drop 2 teams from the West,
That's kind of what I was thinking.
just because the East is so tight still.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely San Jose.
Yep.
Because that is a team that's not trending upward at all.
And the team from the East, I kind of feel the Rangers.
Yeah, I think the Rangers or Buffalo. I could see where the Rangers could turn things around. I don't see where Buffalo's going to turn things around. They have too many injuries.
Yeah, so maybe Buffalo instead of New York.
I guess I'd be okay with either one.
Okay.
So, and then in the West, like if we're gonna steal another team from the West.
Yeah, I think it has to be from the West. So.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be. The problem is if you take out Minnesota right now,
Mm-hmm.
you're taking out a team that's still just a few points, like they're like 5 points back from a wild card right now.
Yeah,
But I think at this point in the season,
the Blackhawks.
Blackhawks, eh?
I mean, they're about. If Minnesota wins their next game, they're going to be at the same point total.
Yeah.
And same games played.
I guess roster-wise goes, I trust Minnesota's roster less.
Yep. That's
Like
why I
the
was saying
Blackhawks
Minnesota.
actually have a potential. So, yeah, probably San Jose, Minnesota, and the Rangers.
Okay. So that's it. So it's getting kind of. Man, it's already kind of tough right now. I can imagine what it'll be like next month.
Next month, trying to find some teams to drop out and basically this is who's going to make the playoffs. Yeah, that'll be tough.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if next month we drop like Winnipeg, Buffalo, and Montreal.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Um,
But we'll see. One of those guys could go on a tear.
yeah.
So who knows?
We said the Rangers.
You want to go to Buffalo?
I think it should be Buffalo.
Okay. I'm going to go to Buffalo.
Leave the door open for the Rangers to beat St. Louis.
Because Buffalo's probably going to be Buffalo. And
Buffalo's going to continue to be Buffalo.
Yep.
I'm not ready to bury Montreal, and then
Nope.
yeah, Buffalo is like a negative 12 in goal differential right
Yeah,
now.
I
The
was
Rangers are
looking-
right around even, and actually, depending on how they play against Detroit tonight, they might end up a positive.
Alright.
So, yeah, I drop Buffalo. So
Alright. I'm good with that. So. Alright. Well, anything else for tonight?
for tonight, no, I think the next month is going to bring a whole lot of fun hockey.
I
As
agree.
we get to usually once you kind of hit that 60 to 80 game point is where everybody's really getting ready for playoffs. Once
So
you
things
get past
tighten up.
you get past the All-Star
Mhm.
break and everybody's like, all right, this is the final push towards the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so games get a bit more intense, points get a little more
Mhm.
critical. Everything really starts to gel and head towards, the culmination of the season. And so this next month of games really starts to kick that off.
Oh, yeah.
March and April March is the best regular season hockey you're going to find heading towards the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
But this next month of February is going to be the preamble
and
to that.
for
and some
me-
teams have to start playing playoff hockey right now to try and get in.
Absolutely.
Especially if you have several teams to jump.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I'd say for me, I'm already watching the playoff bubble. I don't want to watch that until like end of February, early March.
Uh-huh.
But it's like I'm already like checking standings like every other day.
Where are we at? Where are we at? Can we
like-
afford to lose tonight?
Yeah, not
If we
really.
get 1 point, are we going to still be okay?
Yeah. It's like I don't want to start that now. That should start like next month or the month after.
Question of the month then is between every single podcast we've done, there have been 2 or 3 coaches fired over the last 3 podcasts. How
GM.
many coaches will we lose between now and the end of February?
Over under 1.5.
Yeah, let's go over under 1.5.
Okay. I'm gonna take the over the under.
I will take the under.
Okay.
And the reason I take the under is because I think if you've got to this point and you haven't made a change, you're like, I don't think Blashill's going anywhere this season. Doesn't matter what Detroit does.
And that's why I put it at 1.5.
I could see where Montreal makes a change, where Minnesota makes a change. You can see where some of these teams do something, or something else comes out about some other coach
Mm-hmm.
that gets gone. But I don't think so. So I could find like 3 or 4 that maybe would go, but I don't think enough of them will. So I'm going to say it'll be less than 1.5 coaches.
I agree. Well, I guess I kind of agree. I'll take the over.
Mhm.
So. All right. Well, with that, I think we are all done. So this has been the Hockey Podcast you're about to hear, which you just did. My name is Justin,
My name is Alexander.
and thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.